we hear the sad news of the passing of legends. Today, the world says goodbye to remarkable souls who left their mark on history, hearts, and homes. In this video, we take a moment to remember them, to honor their legacy, their laughter, their love, and their light. Join us as we pay tribute to those we lost and celebrate the unforgettable lives they lived.
We open on a somber night in northwestern Spain. In the early hours of July 3, 2025. Tragedy struck on the A52 motorway near Cerna de la Zamora. A Lamborghini, driven by Portuguese forward Diogo José Tuxará da Silva, known to the football world as Diogo Jota, veered off while overtaking. A tire blew out, the car overturned and burst into flames. At just 28 years old, Jota perished instantly alongside his younger brother, André Silva, aged 25, both declared dead at the scene. The loss was unthinkable. 10 days earlier, Jota had walked down the aisle to marry his childhood sweetheart, Ruth Cardoso, in Porto on June 22, 2025. They were parents to 3 young children, Denise Duarte, and a newborn daughter born in October 2024. Yet this was not an ending. It was the silence that followed a roar of passion and purpose. Born on December 4, 1996, in Porto, Jota rose from local pitches and Gondomar kicking for Gondomar C, then Pecos de Ferreira from 2014, with 41 appearances and 14 goals. In his first 2 seasons, he was lauded for his speed, cunning, and finishing. In 2016, Atletico Madrid signed him, but it was loan spells that defined him. A season back at Porto, 27 APs, 8 goals. Then a breakthrough with Wolverhampton Wanderers in 2017, 17 goals. Promotion to the Premier League. Liverpool came calling in September 2020, who paid over £41 million. He became a cornerstone of Jurgen Klopp's front line, 123 league appearances, 47 goals, 65 in total, helping secure the 2024-25 Premier League title, plus FA and League Cups. Arne Slot hailed him as a world-class signing. Klopp called him unforgettable. On the international stage, he was just as bright. 49 caps for Portugal since debuting in November 2019, scoring 14 goals. He wore the Portuguese jersey in Euro 2020, Euro 2024, World Cup 2022, and celebrated UEFA Nations League victories in 2019 and 2025. But beyond stats and titles, Diogo was defined by his character, a humble team player, a devoted husband and father, and a loyal brother to André. His close friend Cristiano Ronaldo lamented, "It doesn't make sense. We were just celebrating together. To your family, I send my condolences. Rest in peace, Diogo and André, we'll all miss you." Fans gathered at Anfield, Liverpool's home, singing "You'll Never Walk Alone." In Spain, Bayern Munich, players observed a minute of silence before training. UEFA and football associations across Europe paid tribute, flags lowered to half-mast. Tournament matches silenced. His prime years, roughly 2017 to 2025, were a time of dedication, excellence, and heart. From Wolves to Liverpool, domestic triumphs to international glory, Diogo Jota embodied every ounce of his potential. Today, as we lower our scarves and bow our heads, remember more than the goals. Remember a man who leaped from pitch to playground with equal passion, who cherished every whistle and every lullaby, who lived fast, loved fiercely, and gave everything until the final moment. Diogo Jota was dynamite in boots, velvet in spirit, his name forever etched in the annals of football and in the hearts of his family. We say goodbye, but promise, your children will hear stories, your goals will be replayed, your laughter will echo. Rest in peace, Diogo never walked alone. The engines were roaring, the dust dancing in the summer air, and the crowd was on its feet. It was supposed to be just another race, another chapter in the story of a rising motocross star. But on June 28, 2025, during a high-stakes competition at Mammoth Mountain in California, the world of motocross stood still. Aiden Zinc, just 16 years old, lost his life in a devastating accident on the track. He was struck mid-race after a fall, and despite immediate efforts from medical personnel, he could not be revived. Born in 2008 in Hemet, California, Aiden's life revolved around speed, grit, and passion. From the moment he could walk, he withdrawn to bikes. By the time most kids were learning to ride a bicycle, Aiden was already mastering corners on the dirt track, competing in youth circuits, and astonishing seasoned riders with his skill and control. Over the years, he grew into one of the most promising young athletes in American motocross, a multiple-time qualifier for the Loretta Lynn's Amateur Motocross Championship. Aiden's talent wasn't just visible, it was undeniable. In 2024, he captured the AMA Amateur National Championship in Super Mini 2 and placed runner-up in Super 1. These weren't just medals, they were milestones in what was clearly shaping into a professional motocross career. In early 2025, Kawasaki Team Green welcomed Aiden to their elite development team. Sponsors flocked to him. Oakley Bell Renthal. His gear was as sharp as his instincts. His name was beginning to echo in the same breath as legends of the sport. Every race he entered felt like a glimpse into motocross's future. But behind the helmet was a young man with an even bigger heart. Off the track, Aiden was quiet, respectful, and humble. His smile lit up the paddocks. He was adored by his teammates, admired by competitors, and deeply loved by his family. He was the son every parent dreams of, the brother every sister leans on. His bond with his parents was unshakable. They built his path with sacrifice and love. His sister, Alexandria, was his best friend. She cheered the loudest. She wept the hardest. On the morning of his passing, he wore his race colors with pride. He rode with purpose. He never imagined it would be his final lap. No one did. The motocross world responded with heartbreak and unity. Fellow riders fell to their knees. Races were paused in his honor. Teams embraced and shared grief. One friend wrote, "Everything I do from now on is for Aiden," and even in death, Aiden's legacy lives on. His family, in their unimaginable pain, asked that donations be made to youth safety initiatives in motocross, so that no other parent must endure the loss of a child so full of promise. Aiden Zinc's prime wasn't measured by years, but by the intensity of his growth. From 2019 to 2025, he climbed a ladder most never reach, grabbing each rung with strength, grace, and the soul of a champion. His final post on social media, made just days before the accident, read simply, "Remember the name, and we will." Aiden was more than a rider. He was a light, a spirit, a future that made us all believe in greatness again. His loss is a scar on the heart of the sport, but even scars tell stories. Stories of bravery, of passion, and of love. Ride on, Aiden. You've taken your final jump into the sky, but your tracks will never fade. On June 28, 2025, the world of horse racing lost one of its greatest legends, Diogo Jota, the man who revolutionized thoroughbred racing and became a cornerstone of the sport. Passed away at the age of 89. Born on September 2, 1935, in Wisconsin, Lukas began his career in the world of sports as a high school coach. But it was his passion for horses that would eventually define him, leading him to a career that would change the face of horse racing forever. Lukas' journey into horse racing began in the 1970s, when he made the bold decision to transition from a successful career as a basketball coach to training horses. In 1976, he made his mark on the industry when he won his first Grade 1 race. But it was his entrance into the racing scene in 1980s that would elevate him to legendary status. Diogo Jota is known for his innovative approach to training and his ability to bring out the best in his horses. His methods were often unconventional, but they worked. Over the course of his career, Lukas became the first trainer in U.S. racing history to win more than $100 million in purse earnings. Lukas achieved a level of dominance few trainers have ever reached. He trained over 20 champions, including the famous Charismatic, who won the Kentucky Derby and Preakness Stakes in 1999. His horses were known not just for their speed, but for their consistency and heart. Lukas' legendary career included winning 4 Kentucky Derbies, 2 Preakness Stakes, and 1 Belmont Stakes. His influence on the sport cannot be overstated, and his legacy will forever be etched in the history of American horse racing. A pioneer in the sport, Lukas was known for his meticulous attention to detail, his ability to find the right horses, and his commitment to the mental and physical well-being of his equine athletes. His success wasn't just about training winners, it was about developing champions who would become legends in their own right. In 1999, Lukas became the first trainer to win over $200 million in career earnings, a milestone that solidified his place in history as one of the most successful and influential trainers the sport had ever seen. He was inducted into the National Museum of Racing and Hall of Fame in 1999, a testament to his incredible contributions to the sport. But behind the trophies and the accolades was a man who truly loved the horses he trained. Lukas was known for his deep connection to the animals, always prioritizing their health and well-being. His calm, patient demeanor was equally matched by his fierce competitiveness, and he pushed his horses to greatness, all while treating them with the utmost care. Lukas' prime years spanned from the 1980s to the 2000s, and during that time, he became a household name in racing. His horses captured the imagination of fans across the world, and his influence helped shape the careers of countless other trainers who looked up to him as both a mentor and a competitor. Off the track, Lukas was a beloved figure. His presence in the barn was as commanding as it was on the racetrack, and his ability to inspire those around him was unmatched. He was a mentor to many, a teacher who helped shape the next generation of trainers and jockeys. His impact on the sport will be felt for generations to come. In his later years, Lukas continued to be involved in the sport, overseeing the careers of young horses and passing on his knowledge to the next generation of racing professionals. His commitment to the sport never wavered, even as his health began to decline. Today, as we mourn the passing of Diogo Jota, we remember not just the races he won, but the lives he touched. He wasn't just a trainer, He was a visionary, a father figure, and a friend to those in the horse racing community. Lukas' death marks the end of an era in racing, but his legacy will live on in every horse that he trained, every jockey he mentored, and every fan who was fortunate enough to witness his greatness. Rest in peace, Dwayne Lukas. Your legacy is immortal, and your influence will forever be felt in the heart of American horse racing. On April 6, 2025, the world lost a maestro, a true legend in the realm of film and television music. Lalo Shiffren, the genius composer behind some of the most iconic movie themes ever created, passed away at the age of 93. Born in Buenos Aires, Argentina, on June 21, 1932, Shiffren's journey into music began in his childhood, where his love for jazz and classical music intertwined. By the time he was in his teens, he was already an accomplished pianist and composer, studying under the tutelage of classical greats. Little did the world know, this young prodigy would go on to reshape the landscape of film music forever. It was the late 1960s that marked the beginning of his groundbreaking influence. Shiffren's name became synonymous with rhythm, intensity, and suspense when he composed the iconic theme for Mission: Impossible in 1966. The show's pulsating rhythm, blended with Shiffren's jazz influences, became instantly recognizable. Tunes so powerful, it defined a genre. The music wasn't just a background score. It was a character of its own. The Mission: Impossible theme remains one of the most celebrated pieces of television music ever created, cementing Shiffren's legacy as a musical innovator. But Shiffren's work didn't stop there. His career spanned over 60 years, with compositions that extended far beyond Mission: Impossible. He worked on some of the most influential films and television shows, including Dirty Harry, 1971, Bullitt, 1968, and The Cincinnati Kid, 1965. His distinctive jazz-influenced style brought a dynamic energy to the silver screen, setting the stage for what would become the sound of action and suspense in film. Shiffren wasn't just a composer. He was a true artist who elevated the craft of film scoring. In his work, jazz, classical, and experimental sounds melded effortlessly, creating a unique voice in cinematic music. His collaborations with Hollywood icons such as Clint Eastwood, Steve McQueen, and John Wayne are remembered as musical masterpieces, each one adding layers of emotion and drama to the visuals. He was nominated for 6 Academy Awards, won 4 Grammy Awards, and composed hundreds of scores, leaving an indelible mark on Hollywood. But despite his massive success, Lalo remained humble alone, content to let the music speak for itself. He wasn't chasing accolades. He was creating a legacy. His prime years, spanning from the 1960s to the 1980s, were marked by groundbreaking compositions that set the tone for modern film music. His ability to blend traditional orchestration with modern rhythmic textures paved the way for a new era of composers. He redefined how music could shape a film's atmosphere, turning themes into integral elements of storytelling. Outside the studio, Shiffren was a passionate teacher, sharing his knowledge and love for music with generations of students. His influence extended far beyond the film world. He was a mentor to aspiring composers and a friend to many. His love for jazz, his appreciation for improvisation, and his unwavering dedication to his craft made him a beloved figure in the music community. Shiffren's music lives on. His themes still echo in the hearts of millions, and his legacy will never fade. The Mission: Impossible theme, the stirring notes of Dirty Harry, and the tension-filled music of Bullitt will continue to define action and suspense for generations to come. Today, as we mourn his loss, we remember Lalo Shiffren not just as a composer, but as a true visionary. His compositions will forever be a part of the cultural fabric of cinema, reminding us of the power music has to move us, excite us, and tell stories without words. Rest in peace, Lalo Shiffren. Your music will play on forever, a part of the soundtrack of our lives. We begin today's tribute with a heavy heart. On July 3, 2025, in the quiet of a Malibu morning, the world lost a cinematic outlaw. Michael Madsen, the gravel-voiced actor known for his unforgettable roles in Reservoir Dogs and Kill Bill, was found unresponsive at his home. He was 67 years old. Cause of death: cardiac arrest. Born on September 25, 1957. In Chicago, Illinois, Michael's story was not one born of red carpets and early fame. He was the son of Elaine Madsen, a filmmaker and author, and Calvin Madsen, a firefighter. His upbringing was steeped in working-class reality, tough, gritty, and real. Much like the characters he would later portray, Madsen began his acting career in the early 1980s, appearing in television series and small film roles. But it was in 1992 that the world truly took notice. In Quentin Tarantino's directorial debut, Reservoir Dogs, Madsen exploded onto the screen as Mr. Blonde, a calm but terrifying criminal whose infamous ear-cutting scene became a moment etched in film history. That role launched Michael into the stratosphere of cult stardom. He wasn't a conventional leading man. He didn't need to be. With his rugged face, whiskey-soaked voice, and unpredictable energy, Madsen embodied a new kind of Hollywood anti-hero, one that audiences couldn't take their eyes off. Over the next decade, he became a regular in the gritty underworld of film noir, thrillers, and gangster dramas. He shared the screen with some of the greatest actors of our time, appearing in Donnie Brasco, Thelma and Louise, and Sin City. But it was Tarantino again who reignited the flame in the 2000s. In 2003 and 2004, Madsen portrayed Bud, the disillusioned, broken brother of Bill in Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2. He gave the character depth and soul, turning what could have been a throwaway villain into a tragic, layered man. These years 1992 to 2005 are often remembered as the prime of Michael Madsen's career, a time when his presence alone could electrify a scene. He was Hollywood's resident rebel, a man with nothing to prove and everything to express. Beyond acting, Michael was also a poet, releasing several volumes of raw, introspective work. His writing was deeply personal, reflecting the scars of fame, family, addiction, and loss. His poetry offered a glimpse into the sensitive heart behind the hardened screen persona. He appeared in over 300 films, lent his voice to video games, like Grand Theft Auto 3 and Dishonored, and remained a staple of genre cinema. His work wasn't always mainstream, but it was always Michael Madsen, authentic, bold, and unapologetically intense. At the time of his passing, Michael was still acting, still writing, still pursuing the art that made him who he is. Survived by his wife and children, including actor Christian Madsen and his sister, Virginia Madsen, a respected actress in her own right. Today, we say goodbye to a man who never played by the rules on screen or off, a man whose characters were violent but human, intimidating but somehow tender. Michael Madsen was more than Mr. Blonde. He was more than Bud. He was poetry and chaos. He was the storm behind the calm stare. And now, the screen dims just a little without him. Rest easy, Michael, you'll always be walking slow into a sunset, in our minds, cowboy boots on, sunglasses tilted, and poetry in your pocket. On June 20, 2025, the world lost a passionate voice for wildlife and animal rights. Michaela Raines, the talented and compassionate wildlife rehabilitator and YouTuber behind Fox, tragically passed away at the age of 30. Her death, currently under investigation and suspected to be a suicide, left the world stunned and heartbroken. Michaela was more than just a wildlife rehabilitator. She was a beacon of hope for countless animals and a force of change in the way people viewed and interacted with wildlife. From a young age, she felt a deep connection with the natural world, and this passion led her to create Fox, a sanctuary dedicated to rescuing and rehabilitating foxes, as well as other wild animals. Born on September 12, 1994, Michaela grew up in the small town of Minnesota. From childhood, she exhibited a profound empathy toward animals. Her fascination with foxes, in particular, was the spark that led to her work in animal rescue. Michaela's journey began with a simple desire to make a difference, but it would evolve into a lifelong commitment to giving voiceless creatures a chance at life and a voice to speak through her YouTube platform. Through Fox, Michaela not only rescued foxes but also created a community of like-minded animal lovers. Her YouTube channel, where she shared stories of her rescues, her life on the farm, and the personalities of her beloved foxes, gained a massive following. Michaela had an incredible ability to connect with her audience, and viewers from all over the world tuned in to watch her as she raised awareness about the plights of fur farm animals and the importance of wildlife conservation. Michaela's passion was contagious. She used her platform to advocate for the ethical treatment of animals, to promote responsible wildlife care, and to educate her followers about the complexities of animal rehabilitation. Her work with the foxes she rescued became a symbol of love, care, and determination, a reminder that even the most vulnerable creatures deserve a chance to thrive. In 2019, Michaela took the leap and opened Fox as a full-time sanctuary, dedicated not just to rescuing animals but to educating the public. She worked tirelessly to provide the best possible care for the animals who had suffered in captivity, giving them a life of freedom and safety. Michaela's influence spread beyond the foxes she cared for. She became a mentor for other animal rehabilitators and a voice for wildlife preservation. Her prime years were not defined by awards or accolades, but by the countless lives she touched, human and animal alike. Her sanctuary became a place where animals who had been discarded and abused were given a second chance. In her care, these animals learned to trust again, to play again, and to live in peace. Michaela's ability to bring joy and healing to those animals was a gift that few could replicate. Yet despite the love she gave to her animals and followers, Michaela's own life was filled with struggles that many never saw. Her passing, so sudden, so painful, has left a deep hole in the hearts of all who knew her. While her cause of death is still under investigation, the shadow of her loss has cast a dark cloud over her community, her followers, and the world of animal welfare. Michaela was not just a rescuer of animals. She was a fighter for those without a voice. She lived a life of purpose, a life dedicated to making the world a better place for the creatures that often went unnoticed. a life that touched the lives of so many who admired her strength, kindness, and passion. Today, as we remember Michaela, we remember her dedication to the animals, her love for the foxes she cared for, and her unrelenting spirit in the face of adversity. Though she is no longer with us, the legacy she leaves behind is powerful. Fox continues on as a living testament to her compassion, her commitment, and her enduring impact. Michaela, your work will never be forgotten. You gave so much to this world, and we will continue to honor your legacy by advocating for the animals you loved so fiercely. You may have left this world far too soon, but your spirit will live on in every fox rescued, every heart you touched, and every life you changed. Rest in peace, Michaela Rains. You were a light in this world, and your love for animals will continue to inspire and guide us all. You are forever in our hearts. On June 26, 2025, we said goodbye to a pioneer in the world of soul and R&B. Walter Scott Jr., the founding member of the legendary group The Whispers, passed away at the age of 81, born on December 13, 1943. In Galveston, Texas, Walter was destined to make his mark in the world of music. From a young age, he was immersed in the sounds of gospel and blues, drawing inspiration from the rich musical heritage of the South. By the early 1960s, he, along with his brother Scotty Scott, formed the nucleus of what would become one of the most influential groups in R&B history, The Whispers. The Whispers came together in 1964, a time when Motown was ruling the airwaves and soul music was evolving into a powerful force. Walter's smooth, heartfelt voice became the signature of the group, blending effortlessly with the harmonies of his fellow members. But it wasn't just his voice, it was his stage presence, his energy, and his passion that made The Whispers a beloved staple of the soul genre. The Whispers' rise to fame was a journey of dedication and hard work. In 1970, they released their debut album, and over the years, they would go on to release 20 albums, leaving an indelible mark on R&B. Hits like And the Beat Goes On, Rocksteady, and Keep On Lovin' Me became anthems, with Walter's vocals leading the way. The group's blend of soul, funk, and smooth ballads made them one of the most enduring acts in the genre. Throughout the 1970s and 1980s, The Whispers continued to dominate the charts. Their music was more than just songs, it was a soundtrack to the lives of many. Their rhythm and grooves spoke to the heart, and Walter's voice connected deeply with listeners, offering a sense of intimacy and understanding. Walter Scott Jr. and his bandmates had the rare ability to create music that transcended time. Their work continued to influence countless artists, from contemporary R&B to modern soul. Over the decades, they were inducted into the Rhythm and Blues Music Hall of Fame and recognized for their outstanding contribution to the genre. But behind the music, Walter was also known for his warmth, his generosity, and his unwavering commitment to his family, a father, a brother, and a friend. Walter's presence was a guiding force within The Whispers and beyond. He remained a mentor to younger artists and was a staunch advocate for the power of music to bring people together. As The Whispers continued to tour, Walter's influence only grew. His voice remained as strong as ever, and his passion for performing never waned. It was clear that the music he made was a gift he shared with the world. In his prime, from the 1970s through the early 1990s, Walter was not just an iconic voice of soul, he was an ambassador for the genre. He helped shape the very sound of R&B that still resonates today. He made the stage his home, and every note he sang carried the weight of his life's work, a life filled with music, love, and an unwavering belief in the power of song. Today, as we reflect on the legacy of Walter Scott Jr., we remember more than just the hits and the albums. We remember a man who poured his soul into his music, who stood by his family and his bandmates through thick and thin, and who gave so much to the world. The Whispers' music will live on, and so will Walter's influence. The smooth, soulful sounds that defined an era will forever echo through our hearts, reminding us of the man who helped shape it all. Rest in peace, Walter Scott Jr. Your music continues to play, and your spirit will forever resonate with all who were touched by your voice. You will never be forgotten.